losing the manager is a big one, I think. And they've really built that player base and whatnot around that style of play, and it's not really worked at Swansea. They towards the end of not last season, the season before, they had that really good run at the end, and everyone were saying, "Oh, they'll make the playoffs next season," and obviously they were nowhere near it. Yeah, I think. I mean, a big boy kind of has to go down. Like I've said, you look at the table. I think there's two obvious ones for me. But then the rest of them, it's a toss up really. And I just think with everything that's going on at Swansea, the transfer business is uninspiring. I think it could be their year. And I mean, I couldn't tell you the last time they weren't in the last time they were in League One, but it's been a while.
Welcome to the EFL's finest, a brand new podcast with real football opinion from two somewhat knowledgeable folks coming at you for England's second division. We're not talking about the Premier League, we're not talking about League One, we're talking about the Championship. That's right. And today is our first podcast. When I say ours, of course, I want to introduce to you a familiar face. It is Jacob Ward. That's right. So we are here. We're going to bat our ideas off of each other and hopefully come to some sort of a conclusion together, because I have seen your ranking of 24 teams for the Championship. We only had one that was the same, so of course a lot of different opinion, but that's the beauty of football, isn't it? So tell them a little bit about yourself, of course, as we gear up for this new journey of a podcast for the EFL and the Championship.
Well, been doing content with yourself now for about 18 months now, I suppose. Been an avid Rovers fan for about a decade now. Season tickets and all that, and obviously quite opinionated from anyone who's kind of seen some of my vlogs, any of the podcasts and whatnot. So hopefully we can do it better than those lot anyway at the second tier podcast.
Well, that's the aim. Just have another set of voices out there to kind of go through England's second division. Anyway, so let's talk about that second division. I'll bring it up on the screen right here, right now. We, of course, do have 24 clubs that make up the Championship. They're coming on the screen right here, right now. We do have a lot of content on the Championship and, of course, Blackburn Rovers on the channel. But today we're going to have a bit of a deep dive into the Championship and these 24 clubs, of course. And a bit of disclosure, both Jacob and I are Rovers fans, but I have soft spots for a lot of these clubs. If you would have a soft spot for another club out on this 24, who would you pick?
It would have been Blackpool before they got relegated. My uncle's a Blackpool fan, so that's a bit of my second team. But my step granddad, I suppose, is a Plymouth fan. So out of all of them, I'd probably have to say I'm hoping Plymouth stay up, but unfortunately, as we'll get to, I don't have high hopes from this season.
Yeah, and actually, you touched a little bit just how different a season can make. Last season, we had a handful of really tasty local derbies for Blackburn Rovers. We had Burnley, we had Wigan, we had Blackpool. Now the only real one is Preston. So I think, unless there's another one that stands out, but how different 12 months can make. So let's take a close look at these clubs, of course, their managers and, of course, their business activity so far. Of course, Birmingham coming at you right here, right now, playing in, of course, St Andrews with a capacity just under 30,000. John Eustace is your manager, of course, and their transfer activity. They've been a little bit busy, both in and out. Any shockers for the outs and any surprises for the ins on that list there, Jacob?
I think Joe Bellingham is probably the obvious one from the outs. Obviously, is he going to live up to his brother's potential? I mean, it's big shoes to obviously fill in. But it seems like Sunderland fans are very happy from what I've seen about obviously getting him. Maybe a bit of an inflated price with it being the Bellingham name, but I guess time will tell whether he kind of lives up to that hype or not. I think in regards to the ins, Siriki Dembele is definitely one who, when he was playing in the Championship with Peterborough, weren't it? Um, I would have loved to have got him in that January transfer window when we were pushing for the playoffs as well under Mowbray. Unfortunately, he ended up going to Bournemouth and hasn't really had a sniff for him. So he'll be one I'm definitely looking out for, see whether he can catch that form that he had for Peterborough. Because I remember when they come to Rovers, Peterborough, he was their only shining light. He really caught my eye that night, and definitely an exciting player.
Yeah, they've been very strong, I think, in their transfer market. Of course, bringing in Tyler Roberts from Leeds. I'm not sure about the fees for these players. Dembele is one of the standout names. Bilic as well from Derby is also strong. But they've also lost Tahiti Chong to Luton, who seem to be going about their Premier League business on the cheap. But maybe building for League One. Maxime Colin is a player I've got an eye on. It would be a nice little addition right back for Rovers if we could get in there. But not too shabby so far for Birmingham. Rovers, of course, we know about them. JDT, the manager for now, of course, playing capacity of just under 32,000, just over 31. Of course, Travis is the captain these days, or will it? Give us a quick, short, sharp take on our business so far, ins and outs.
Well, I mean, it's all gone a bit dry, unfortunately, with the ins as of late. Obviously, with all the controversy with the Venkis and whatnot, all these government changes in India. Obviously, the big two really on the outs, obviously Brereton Diaz, who we've known for a while, we're leaving, and probably Bradley Datt, you'd have to say, now wound his way up, reunited with Brendan Mowbray at Sunderland. It's going to be hard to see him in red and white instead of blue and white, that's for sure, and you can probably guarantee he's going to score against us when we do play him. I think Ayala's probably a bit of a big one as well, to be fair. But to be fair, with Dak and Ayala, two of our highest earners last season and two players who were only fit half the season. So I think it's probably the right choice to move them two on. In terms of the ins, I think Sondre, Trossard, and Tronstad's going to be a steady signing from what I've seen so far. He's played in the middle against Girona on Saturday with Travis, and he looks a steady hand. Nothing too exciting, but that's not really what you need from a holding midfielder. Ennis, we only got to see a glimpse of him, but we'll have to see. I mean, he was second or third choice for Plymouth last season and got 15 goals, so whether he can make the step up. And I think Arne Sigurdsson's obviously going to be the really exciting one. I think he's a make or break really for our season. If we don't manage to get a striker in, I think we're going to have to rely on a lot of contributions from him and your Smodics and your Dorlands to really get us into the playoffs this season. And obviously, he's an unknown. How well is he going to do in this league? He's either going to sink or swim, and we'll see soon, I suppose.
Yeah, I can echo that comment. Sigurdsson definitely the standout player for Rovers in transfer business-wise. Bristol City, a lot of people pinning these guys as a dark horse here. I'm not too keen on their manager, Nigel Pearson. I think that's the weak link in their especially their business, because their business has been quite strong. Rob Dickey coming in from QPR, of course. Jason Knight from Derby in their standout name. Losing the likes of the Jada Silva to Coventry and a couple of other players in there. Any names or business out of that strikes you as decent?
I fancied Dickey myself. I would have took him. I think they got him on a free. I wouldn't have minded him. I think he's always been a solid centre half for QPR. I think De Silva's obviously a bit of a big one. His brother's at Brentford, isn't it? But I mean, they've got that young lad in midfield, haven't they? Is it Alex Smith? Is it
Alex Scott? Yeah. He's keeping
Scott,
hold of him is going to be huge. If they do keep a hold of him, of course, he could be a difference maker, but they could also make a good chunk of change if he was to go. Kicking on, let's go take a look at into Wales now. Cardiff City, new manager, Erol Bulut from Turkey. Don't know too much about him, so he could be a Valorant Ismail, or he could be that guy that was at Hull City last season, complete dud. But transfer business-wide, made some highbrow signings or attention-grabbing signings. Aaron Ramsey coming back to Wales, Colin Grant making the switch from West Brom, Ike Ugbo, Troy's striker there. What do you think about their business and their chances?
I don't know really. I think even though they've got Aaron Ramsey, I can't see them doing much this season. I mean, he's a very obviously big name signing, but is he still up to this standard? I don't know. Or obviously he's going back to his boyhood club sort of thing, winding down his career. If he's the Aaron Ramsey we know and can play to that ability, then there's absolutely no reason why he couldn't even themselves drag Cardiff to the playoffs. But just with his injuries and ever since he's left Arsenal, it's not really worked. I mean, obviously ended up at Juventus and didn't play too much for them. We'll have to see, I suppose. But it's an interesting signing to say the least. I know obviously they were linked with Gareth Bale as well, but hasn't come to be. But there was that similar sort of talk last season when if Bale comes in, what sort of impact could he have on this Cardiff side?
Yep, indeed. Coventry City, of course, unfortunately, they did not make the Premier League, but Mark Robins still remains their manager, of course. But transfer market-wise, losing a major player in their side, Goyo Quezon to Portugal, a big money move, and they spent a chunk of that cash bringing Ellis Sims in, who was touted to every Premier League. So they've also brought in that fella there from Swansea, I'll let you say his name, and some Japanese fella from Ostend. So I think they've had a strong window, but I'm not too sure. I think there's a lot of question marks around Coventry, and Gustavo Hamer's now been linked with a whole bunch of teams as well. So losing their two key figureheads could be massive, and they might have overspent a little maybe on Ellis Sims.
Yeah, I think it could be a Derby situation with Coventry, you feel. I mean, obviously, Derby missed out on the playoff finals and kind of gambled the way there, I suppose. And obviously, they've got their own problems off the pitch, not owning the stadium and whatnot. And, obviously, it's well documented, all that. And now, obviously, they're kind of paying the price, I suppose, losing, obviously, Gyökeres. That's going to be a huge miss. And if they were to lose Hamer, who's probably their best player now, just see this side kind of getting stripped. Sims obviously did decent for Sunderland last season. He was only there till January, and then Everton called him back. But obviously, it was 8-9 million they paid for him, haven't they? So it's a lot of money for a player who's only spent half a season in the Championship. And yeah, I guess time will tell, but I don't think Coventry are going to have a good season personally this year. I think it's going to be a bit more of a sink than swim.
Yeah, similar minds, I think. Huddersfield Town, the return of Neil Warnock, who's retired about 75 times, but he's back for another year, or at least a part of a year. We'll see. Not much transfer business, just brought in a goalkeeper from Blackpool, losing a whole bunch of fellas there. Dwayne Holmes going to Preston. That Josh Ruffles fella. Who's the one? Is it Josh Ruffles? Somebody got banned just like Ivan Toney for a year from gambling. I don't know. Anyway, I don't know if it's Ruffles or the other former left back for Huddersfield. But anyway, it doesn't escape me. But seems to be like just getting out with the deadwood here and just kind of leaving just the bare bones for Huddersfield at the moment.
Yeah, Neil Warnock kind of doing a Neil Warnock, I suppose. No messing about, and has come in and shaped things up. I mean, obviously they'll have the lad who was on loan from us now. On loan to us rather.
Sorba Thomas.
Yeah, of course. So he'll be like a new signing. I know, obviously, Warnock was saying, weren't he, if he was in charge at the time, he wouldn't have let him leave. So I guess he should be putting an arm around him, and that should be like a new signing. I would have liked to have got Sorba back personally, but wasn't to be, I suppose. But yeah, kind of looking at that business, obviously, you would assume they're going to be leaving their business till late in the window. I can't see them obviously only having the one goalkeeper, and Maxwell from Blackpool's a decent keeper, but that Backlick, I think they got him from Sevilla or something daft, didn't they? Quite a big name keeper anyway, Czech Republic, I believe. So yeah, a bit of a from that anyway, it paints a bit of a dire picture again for Huddersfield. But Neil Warnock, you can't count him out really of keeping a side in the Championship. So it's probably going to be a bit of a rough season, but I can't see them going down just because of the Neil Warnock effect, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll see where you put them later. Hull City, of course, coming at you with Liam Ross Sr., of course, backed by the Turkish billionaire, and done okay in the transfer market. Liam Delap coming in from Man City as a standout name. Vinagari coming from Sporting, not too sure about him, but young strikers, young players, young attackers there. And losing, maybe, who's the big standout there? I'm not too sure, to be honest with you. Titus, no. Callum Alder, maybe. I think they've kept a hold of their decent players and added a few. And they seem to be always there or just negotiate. Or their names are linked with a lot of players banding around, but they never seem to pull off the big moves. What do you take from this? And what do you think Hull can get up to this season?
I'm surprised to not see Snerry on that out list, to be fair. I mean, obviously they spent a decent amount of wages, I believe, getting him in last season from Fulham, weren't it? And obviously last season was a bit of a whole season, I suppose, really. Obviously Liam Delap's an exciting signing, but just like last season, at the start of the season, people were tipping Hull as dark horses for the playoffs. They started really well. They were in the top two for a period anyway in the first 10 games or so, but then obviously just kind of died off. I think I have similar sort of feeling this season. I think people are tipping them for something simply because of these new owners, and I don't think it's going to come to fruition.
Yeah, I'm not been blown away by the business. Now, these guys, Ipswich Town, of course, Kieran McKenna, young coach, exciting coach. Everybody's putting giving these guys the, I don't know, second seat. I don't know. They're pinning. Everyone seems to be tipping these guys to do very, very well. They have been busy transfer market wise. Jack Taylor coming in from Peterborough, good signing. Even the Peterborough owner coming out saying that Ipswich have had their pants down and made a really good signing. George Hurst, we know from him from what he can or cannot do. But they seem to like him a lot. But you're also losing Raheem Harper, a name that rings as well, synonymous with Rovers fans. Experienced man. Where's Keogh? Richard Keogh on the Wickham. You have some other names as well. So are you pinning your hopes on Ipswich causing some surprises, or do you think they will struggle?
I don't think they're going to struggle, but I think people have overhyped Ipswich a bit too much. I mean, I know Sunderland made the playoffs last year, but last season's quality in terms of the teams in this league is totally different to this season. I mean, you look at the teams that made the playoffs last season, not one of them got relegated from the Premier League. Obviously, it was only Burnley who got relegated from the Premier League, who went straight back up through the top six. Obviously Watford and Norwich were way off it really come the end of the season, which is very unlikely to happen really. And now you're looking at your likes of Watford, Norwich, West Brom, and you've got Leeds, Southampton, Leicester coming down. I just don't see where a fresh Ipswich side coming up from League One really makes it, to be honest. I mean, obviously there's a lot of outs there, but I mean, when you're coming up a league, you've got to kind of shift some players on, I suppose. But I can see them having a decent season, but I'd be shocked to see him in the top six. I mean, if you stand out signing there's George Hurst, and from what we saw last season anyway, he's not championship quality, then it's a bit worrying for me if you are wanting to make a top six push.
Yeah, well, they do seem. I looked at their squad. They seem to be overloaded in the attacking departments. And us on the flip side are threadbare going up top. But George Hurst will score a couple of goals, I think, but I don't think he'll set the world alight. Leeds United, of course, one of the bigger boys. Daniel Farke, of course, returned to the Championship, a manager that we courted a little bit. He had an unsuccessful time in the Bundesliga, but he's back where he is most successful, of course, in the Championship. Ins and outs, Yeah, just the one in so far. Ethan Ampadu, I think. I don't know. They might have made another signing. I don't know, but I think to be honest with you, that's the big one. And a lot of humongous talent going out on loan for the most part, I guess, with the hopes and dreams that they'll be back next season. You got Brendan Aronson. I really like him. He's off to the Bundesliga. Robin Koch. That's every Burnley's favourite player right there. Tyler Roberts, of course. Rodrigo going to make some money in the Middle East, and some other players. What do you think? Leeds the team to fear?
I don't think they're the team to fear, but I do think they'll have a decent season. You know what I mean? Ampadu is a good signing, I feel. There's a lot of pedigree there through Chelsea and the Welsh team as well. But looking at those Alps, there are a lot of big names there. Your likes of Rodrigo, Aronson, who you touched on. But they've also managed to keep their hands on some decent players for this level, you would feel. I mean, obviously they've still got the keeper between the sticks, haven't they? Melier, who you feel should do a good job in the Championship. Anyway, he's been a decent enough Prem keeper for a few seasons now. Obviously, there's the man up front, Bamford. Can he still cut it in the Championship? Last time he was here, he did do a decent job, and obviously, following that season, he had a really good season in the Prem before that injury. So, and there's also that guy on the left, isn't there? The Italian lad who
Yeah,
really
Notto or
broke
whatever.
out.
Gnotto.
Yeah, he really broke out last season and could be the one to watch really for Leeds. And they also signed a Colombian lad or something like that in January, Sinistera, something like that. So there's definitely some exciting players there. It's whether they can keep their hands on him, whether they maybe lose and coming towards the end of the transfer market where teams are scrambling about the need to get someone in quickly. Will they lose these players? Obviously, when the season kicks off as well, if your Nonce or your Sinistera are ripping it up in the first couple games and they're looking on fire, then obviously that's going to garner some attention as well. But at the minute, I think they've got a few definitely exciting players who should be able to get into the top six.
Yeah, we'll confirm that later. Leicester City, another big boy and another hotly fancied team. Captain, I think, to be decided. Maresca coming at you from Man City's backroom staff there. Pep's one of Pep's understudies. Again, spending some money. Connor Cody, Harry Winks, Hermanson. Not too sure about him, but they are big names. But I'm not blown away by those kind of signings. They are safe signings, and I'm reading that Cody picked up an injury already. But losing as well, humongous talent. Tillman's gone to Villa. We've got Harvey Barnes going to Newcastle, Madison to Tottenham. George Hurst, of course, losing him, massive. But a lot of talent gone. There's still a lot of talent there. Vardy's still here. And again, a lot of people tipping them for the top two. I think I might be in that bracket, but we'll confirm it in a bit. But I'm still not overly, I'm overly excited by the additions so far.
I think, like you said, I think they are quite steady signings. Cody and Winks. I think Callum Doyle's should be a good one. Obviously, he was on loan at Sheffield United, weren't he, last season? And scored that absolute banger against us, unfortunately, in the cup. But I mean, he's proven last season he's a quality player at this level. Obviously, you're out. You were expecting Barnes and your Madison to go, but they've managed to keep hold of Vardy. I think he's a real unknown coming into this season just because of how much he's been slowing up in the Prem this past season in particular. Obviously, they've got Iheanacho still, who the season they won the FA Cup was on fire, and that's only a couple of years ago now. At this level, you would hope he'd be able to do enough. Patson Daka as well. So they've got a few really good options up front, and you do feel they should have enough. They've got that pedigree, a lot of pedigree in some of those players in particular.
But maybe question marks around the coach. We don't know if he's a good one or a bad one. I guess the last
effect.
Say again?
Just the Pep effect in there. I mean, you look at obviously Arteta, company. It does seem these coaches who worked very closely with Pep, it just seems to be a winning kind of mentality and breed with him. I mean, obviously Arteta's walked into that Arsenal job, and yeah, it's took a while, but where he got into last season. And obviously, this guy, he's a bit of a unknown name, I suppose, but he's starting at a much lower level with a lot of players who are probably too good for this level. So it's a nice first job, really, to be getting yourself into.
Yeah, and we'll see how he gets on. Borough, of course, in the mix last time around. Carrick's still there. Johnny Howson, the skipper. Transfer wise, brought it in. So they've been busy. Couple of youngsters from the Man City, under 21s or under 23s. We've got Senny Deng, goalkeeper from QPR. They had to replace, I think they had a loanee from Man City last time. Joe Lumley, another goalkeeper, going out. Again, a lot of deadwood going out. They've kept a hold of Chuba Akpom, the goal-scoring machine. These are a team to watch, I fear, and they might get it right this time.
Yeah, I think Carrick's obviously going to be at the wheel for the entire season, which is going to be a huge difference. Obviously, started off so slowly last season under Warnock, didn't they? And under Carrick, they were, if it had been there the entire season, it could have been very different for Middlesbrough. Senny Dieng's a good keeper at this level. I think he should definitely do a job for him. Other than that, as you're saying, there's no real standouts. The Man City boys are kind of unknowns, really. But, I mean, judging from last season, the Man City loans that come all did pretty well, really. So you should be able to expect big things from them. But I think, like you're saying, obviously, keeping Akpom, obviously, they've still got, Lenihan at the back, some great Championship players in this team. And with a manager who had the run that he did last season, you would think they're going to be on for good things again this season.
Yep. And of course, we burst their bubble last time. Millwall just couldn't get over the line, but Gary Rowett's still there. Transfer wise, they've been good signings for Millwall anyway. No disrespect. Kevin Nesbitt, again, a player that we were linked with. We were linked with a lot of people. Joe Bryan, another name that was banded around. So that's a bit of quality coming in. Keeping a hold of the Zion Fleming is going to be massive. I know Burnley are sniffing. I know probably other clubs are sniffing. Keep him and they'll have a good season. Lose him and lose him late. You could have an indifferent season for Millwall this time. Do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like as you mentioned, Brian's one we've been linked with, but I mean, you're never going to expect Millwall to make any fashionable big signings, really, are you? Just more of a cohesive unit who, you got to the den and you're going to be in for a game, I suppose, aren't you? So I suppose we'll have to see. They have been in and around the playoffs for a good couple seasons now, and I think Rowett's doing a good job with the shoestring budget he has, really. I don't think they can ask for much more than that than to just kind of, squeeze in maybe one season and kind of test the luck if they were to get there at one point. But I don't think this year is going to be the year, unfortunately, for Millwall with the quality in the league.
Yeah, another team that's probably got plans or dreams of a return to the Premier League is Norwich, with David Wagner coming at you. Of course, still got the old behemoth at the back, Grant Hanley wearing the armband. A different approach this time. Of course, losing goal scoring machine Timu Puki, bringing in some veterans at the back there. Another familiar face. This the Duffy Hanley back line. Look at it. Ashley Barnes. Oh gosh, how can they be in the same team together? I don't know. It's gonna be weird. But he's a scrappy merchant, is Ashley Barnes. As much as I hate him, I think he would have been all right. He would have been a good addition for a lot of championship clubs. But still, what do you think of their hopes? I honestly, I'm going to just put it out there. They're scrappy signings. They will win points, win games, but it's not exciting. It doesn't ring excitement. And I think this hot seat, managerial hot seat, the Norwich job could be up for grabs early doors if it doesn't get off to a flyer.
It'll be interesting for sure. I mean, Wagner come in last season and he didn't really do too well, other than beating us. He didn't really do much else, did he? He is a good manager by all accounts. Obviously, did really well with Huddersfield, got them up and did a decent job that first time in the Prem. But ever since, it's kind of fizzled out, and I think he's been living on that off that 2-year kind of success period for a while now. Like you say, Duffy and Anthony at the back, what a throwback that is. I mean, what's that, 8 years now or so since they've last played together. So I guess that will be interesting to see. And Ashley Barnes is going to, for sure, get a warm reception when he comes to Ewood, I'm sure. But, I mean, like you're saying, they are very, not exciting signings, like you said, just more kind of like championship, tried and proven signings, nothing to really get you out your seat. But steady players, I suppose, in this league. I mean, Ashley Barnes will get you goals in the championship, but is he that man to get you 20 plus goals now? No, he isn't.
No. Of course, one of your little soft spots is the Green Army. Stephen Schumacher in the driving seat there, 17,900 when packed out. Of course, losing now Ennis, big loss for them. Luke Jepcott scored a lot of goals recently. Where not this past season prior. He's still available out there. No one's taken him. Bringing in Morgan Wicketer from Swansea. That Pelagos Rizzo fella is a strong signing from 20. I was surprised to see his name pop up on their new additions, but still a big tall order for these guys to stick around. But I'm sure they'll throw everything at it and try and prove us all wrong.
Yeah, it reminds me a bit of when Wickham came up with Plymouth coming up. They'll have lots of fight and spirit, I'm sure. But I mean, looking at the ends, there's none that. I mean, you've mentioned the FC20 lad. I can't proclaim to know much about him, but other than Hazard, which I had to check to see if it was
no relation.
Brothers. Yeah, it did throw me that, but I think he's a keeper from what I saw when I googled it. But yeah, I mean, obviously they weren't too happy when we signed Ennis. I think they were all a bit gutted about that, which kind of shows, I suppose, where they are as a club. The fact they've got promoted, and a lot of players would usually stick with a club once they've been promoted from League One. But Ennis has decided to, take the exit door and kind of solidify himself with a championship club that won't be going anywhere. Well, they won't be going down for sure anyway this season, Rovers. So it'll be interesting to see, but I hope they show a lot of fight and endeavour like Wickham did.
Yeah, I agree. Of course, our nearest and dearest for this season, Ryan Lowe and his Preston North End boys. Transfer-wise, been busy. Will Keane coming in from Wigan, Lane Stewart, young striker from Liverpool, couple of at least one Scandinavian Danish fella up there. Calvin Ramsey's a strong signing, I think, at right back. Losing Daniel Johnson, I think it's a standout one there. He always seemed to have a goal or a good game against us. Not, I guess more recently, not so much, but that's a big loss for them. He was always on the team sheet. And I think Stoke picked him up, so we haven't got rid of him just yet. What do you think of our closest rivals for the campaign? How do you think their business has been so far?
Yeah, I was shocked to see that DJ had left for them on a free. Maybe time to move it on, but he's wound up at a better club. A team with better chances this season. Anyway, I feel, funnily enough. So an upwards move for him, I would reckon. I think Josh Onoma is a surprising one. I mean, he's got good pedigree from Fulham and whatnot. Can definitely do a job. You would have thought at the Championship, but yeah, Will Keane's going to be the interesting one out of those ends, isn't he? Big lad, and I suppose we'll see. I've not got particularly high hopes for Preston this year. They did fall off a bit last season, didn't they, when they were all getting a bit giddy, thinking they might make the top six, as they always kind of do at some point during the season. But yeah, I think the fans were starting to get on Mason's back towards the end of the season with some of the comments being made, talking about their budget and whatnot, and how their expectations as a club and whatnot. I don't think some of the fans like that in particular.
No. So QPR with Gareth Ainsworth, not the greatest start so far for him at his new place. A lot of exits, couple of handful of signings. Begovic, big signing for the goalkeeping department anyway. Paul Smith can score goals at League Two. Can he score goals at the Championship? We'll see. Losing some key players. Rob Dickey then going out the door. Keeping a hold of Ilias Chair for the time being. Stefan Johansson's a player I've always admired, but he has been released as well. Season of struggle, do you think, for the Super Hoops? What are your thoughts on these guys?
Yeah, I think maybe after the whole getting the guy in to do the hacker or whatever it's called may have turned a few players off. Gareth Ainsworth, obviously, they managed to just about stay up last season. But I mean, obviously, Reading had the points deduction and all that, so things could have been very different in the end for QPR. But yeah, like you mentioned, they've still got Chair, they've still got the other lad, Willock. Yeah, so two quality players at this level, I think. Anyway, two players who are playoff players, and if they keep both of them, they should be fine. You would think. I think Begovic should do a job at this level. I imagine. So I think they should be all right. Whether Ainsworth will be there at the end of the season is a different question, though, just because of how unfashionable the style of football is. I mean, he's got a bit of credit in the bank playing for QPR and whatnot. I guess time will tell.
Yeah, he's got to win them round, I think. Rotherham United, another team that's tipped to struggle. Matt Taylor, of course, their boys did a number on us last season. It's still ringing in my ears. But losing the Ogbeni fella again to Luton, going on the cheap, picking up some decent Championship players for peanuts, and bringing in not really stellar signings for Rotherham, but they'll put a shift in. But I can only see one thing, and that's a relegation battle on their hands. But what about Jacob? What do you think?
Yeah, I agree with the comment about Rotherham away last season. That probably has to be one of the most painful away days I've had the displeasure of going to, and it's the first away game this season. And when my mate said, "Do you fancy it?" it took me it took a bit of deliberating, but I do think I'll be there. Hopefully, we have a better day out this time. I think Rotherham will probably find themselves in a relegation battle this season. I think everyone thinks that every season about Rotherham. They are just that yo-yo club. They beat the trend last season and managed to stay up quite comfortably in the end. But I think this season, with the strength of the league, I think you just look at that league table and there are certain teams that just jump out who are going to be down there. And I think Rotherham's definitely one of the main candidates for that. Like you're saying, they'll give you a good competitive game. They're no walkovers, but it's just the quality. There's no real players in their team that stand out to me. Obviously, they've lost, the man to Luton, what's going to be the big blow. And it's whether they can replace those goals, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll see. They might do some better business to improve their squad, but right now it looks a little light. Sheffield Wednesday with Zisco, the manager, of course, formerly of Watford, did a fantastic job for them, getting them promoted. Of course, a lot of question marks about their previous manager, Darren Moore, getting them there, getting them in this division, but of course, parting ways. I'm not too sure what the backstory with that is. Barry Bannon, a player I've always liked, well, in recent times anyway. Again, not much business done. Reece James, who I think was there on loan last season, is there on a permanent. And yeah, a lot of players going out, but not much coming in. Struggling, or do you think they will shock a few?
I think they'll shock a few. I don't know why, but as soon as I saw that Sheffield Wednesday were promoted, I just thought, yeah, I reckon they'll have a decent season next season. Not Ipswich like everyone seems to think, but I just have a funny feeling they will. I mean, everything's telling me that I shouldn't think that with all the controversy with Darren Moore, as you're saying, and how unsettling that must have been. I don't think anyone would have thought he'd have been losing his job. Never mind him. I think it's a strange one, but I do I do think they could have a decent season. It's going to go one of two ways, and it's that they're either going to absolutely flop due to all this disparity and whatnot, or this guy's going to come in, going to rally them, and I think they could have a decent top half finish. I think.
We'll see. I'm not so sure. Southampton, of course, new manager for them. Russell Martin, the opinionated Russell Martin, still got JWP on the books. Of course, penalty sensation, unless you saw that last one that he did that went into the moon. And of course, business-wise, bringing in another couple of young Man City prodigies. Ryan Manning, a familiar face to Russell Martin there. Losing, who have they lost? They've lost some, I'm sure they've lost some big boys. Diallo. Orsic, yeah, Trabzonspor. There's, of course, Theo Walcott, oldie but a goodie. And there's other players linked with the exit door right now at Southampton. But Adam Armstrong back into the Championship. Will he score like he used to? And others. You know, these guys have got a good team, or the makings of a good team. But what about the coach? Of course, he's a bit of a Marmite kind of character.
Yeah, I think he's very Marmite with Rovers fans in particular. What he were those comments before the Blackburn game with our way of playing and all that, which the Rovers admin had a couple good laughs at, posting that both times we beat them last season. But yeah, I think as you're saying, he's very, very, very Marmite. But you know, Swansea, the quality of their squad compared to Southampton is night and day, really. I mean, his style of football could be, you know, what Burnley was last season under Company. I mean, other than Company, his boys at Swansea had the highest possession stats and whatnot last season, didn't they? But it's just when you're having that ball, you're obviously needing to make those key passes forward, not the sideways and backwards and those cutting passes. And when you've got someone like James Ward-Prowse in your midfield, who we know about his penalties and his free kicks, but he is also a very, very good player in his own right outside of that. And at this level, he should be cutting defences open at ease. And when you've got a man like Adam Armstrong, who's, you know, got like a shit off a shovel, to use an English phrase, so fast. You got Che Adams, you know, there's absolutely no reason why this style of football shouldn't work with Southampton. But I guess time will tell whether he can implement it well enough. But I mean, they have lost some good players, but they've kept on to better players than they've lost, haven't they? Your James Ward-Prowse, Che Adams, your Adam Armstrong. I'd rather be keeping them than Orsic, Theo Walcott, El Yunusi.
Mm-hmm. So we'll see. Yeah, the jury is out on that one. Alex Neil is back with Stoke again. Of course, very chalk and cheese season last season. Peaked probably a little bit towards the end of the season, but way off the pace. But a lot of people fancying these guys to do some damage. Nick Powell, of course, big loss for them, or not big loss, but he's kind of phased out, gone down to League Two with Stockport, which is a bit of a surprise. Sam Klukas as well, been released. Aidan Flint, Phil Jagger, some old names or going out the door there. DJ coming in, Ben Pearson from Bournemouth, Edna Stevens as well. So, and that Hoover fella from Wolves. So, yeah. Neil's a good coach. I like Neil, even though for his Preston days, but still, Stoke is one of them teams. I just don't know where they're going to go.
I think that's Stoke every season, really, isn't it? I mean, I think everyone tips them usually for a playoff or thereabouts, but I think people have maybe become wise to that because they just kind of seem to let you down every season, I suppose. Any predictions? I think obviously he's had a season under his belt now, Neil. Obviously, like you were saying, it was a bit of a nothing season last season. Unfortunately, he decided to peak at the time when we come round to us playing him at the Bet365, and I was having to walk back to my car with Stoke fans chanting that they were going to make the playoffs and whatnot, which they were way off in the end, but made some decent signings. I think Pearson's a good one at this level. He will be starting. And that Hoover in particular, that game he played against us, he got a couple goals. He looked quality, and Tyrese Dolan could just not deal with him at all. Kept losing him at the back post, and made us pay. So I'm not surprised to see they've made that signing. I mean, obviously they've lost a few names, but Jagielka, who did a decent job from last season, and Powell, and Klukas, another one. But I think they'll have a decent season this year. I think, obviously, like I said, another year under his belt. He is a good manager, like you say, and it's just whether he can make the playoffs because he's always one of those. He's there and thereabouts, isn't he, Neil?
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to these boys. Yeah. Tony Mowbray. I don't think I put the Dak transfer on here. I didn't, but so Dak has moved. He's gone over there. Let's just get that out of the way. Which is, I'm happy for him. It's a team where he'll get some attention from Mowbray, a manager who knows him well. He's probably have to compete. He's have to fight for a spot. I don't think it's a given that Dak starts every week. Pritchard's is a similar kind of player in a way. Again, but I'm elated for him, and I hope they do well. I would love to see Dak just get one Premier League appearance to his name somehow. I wish it was with us, but anyway, that's my little little sidebar there. Of course, Joby Bellingham coming in, a whole host of players going out as well. Keeping a hold of your Jack Clark's massive for them. Of course, they've got that goal scoring machines at Ross Stewart. They'll still have him for a season if we can get him fit. No, what's that fancy lad that was from Man United? He's not there, but yeah, they're gonna miss him big time. Some good, exciting youngsters from Europe. The Silt fella, the Semedo from Benfica. So yes, some that could be there or thereabouts again, I think.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the outs, it's just a lot of dead wood, really. They seem to have got rid of. And, they've improved the squad. Obviously, like you mentioned, they've lost Diallo, what's obviously gone back to United, what's the big one. You take his contributions away last season, and they're absolutely nowhere near the playoffs. He's a £40 million player playing in the Championship, and he single-handedly got them to the playoffs, really. I think even Sunderland fans would admit that. I think Ross Stewart coming back is a big one. We were linked with him at one point last season in January and whatnot. I think he's going to be one, but if he hits numbers this season, which he can do when he's back up to full fitness, he could be one to get them up there again. Bellingham, obviously, I've mentioned it before. That's definitely going to be an interesting one. But I think, like you're saying with Dak, I don't think Dak's given a place at all. I don't think, it's funny. I was thinking when he went that we're having a conversation a year ago of whether he could actually play in the Prem or sign for a Prem side. I remember on one of our podcasts, and I said I just don't see it anymore. And I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. Being reunited with Mowbray, obviously, you can tell they've got that really good connection there. But I don't know. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to be a bit of a Danny Graham going to Sunderland signing for me after he left us, personally.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say that I think Dak will have that fight, that determination to at least make this move work. I don't know if it will work out to much success, but I think he'll prove to be a decent signing. I'm not saying he's going to set the world on fire, but
I was just going to say he's come out with a few bitter comments. His farewell message to the fans. There was a few kind of jabs in there towards JDT, you feel, and obviously there's been an interview as well with Sunderland. Feeling he could have played more and whatnot. He's come out with those comments now. I don't think any fans would ever turn on him. Just coming out with stuff like that, but he's got to live up to it now.
He does. He has to live up to it, and he has to do his talking on the pitch. But again, I think that the jabs are aimed at the coach and the manager, and that's fair enough. He was never going to play JDT football. His legs are not up to it. So, and as much as I love it, it's like I'd eat steak and chips every day of the year if I could, but I know it's not good for me. So playing Dak a little bit, yes, for our style, it might work for little bits, but the bigger picture, it's not healthy. It's not healthy for him. It's not healthy for us. So that's my analogy of steak and chips. Anyway, so Swansea City with a new manager, Michael Duff. Burnley connections there. He comes with a six finger, formerly a Barnsley coach, did a fantastic job there. Well, did a good job. I would say fantastic. Couldn't get him over the line in the end. Of course, they've lost Obafemi. That's done and dusted. Burnley, they picked up a dud there. And of course, Leicester Boudou, the fullback, right back, whatever you want to call it. Carl Norton's gone as well. Goalkeeper Sondergrad's out. They think they've just signed a goalkeeper today. Hot off the press. Don't know the name. Jerry Yates, big signing coming in from Blackpool. He will score goals. Is he going to partner Joe Perreault, or will he be the replacement for Joe Perreault?
I mean, looking at those outs, you've mentioned a few big names. I think you would hope that, well, you would hope as a Swansea fan anyway, Yates is coming to replace Obafemi. Obviously, he signed for Burnley, he's a decent championship player, and he's not a Prem player for sure, but Ryan Manning, that's definitely a big one. But you would think that Yates has come in to help Perreault, but if Perreault does leave, I think there should be alarm bells ringing for Swansea fans. I mean, Perreault's been linked with a move away now for a good couple of years now, really. Probably is too good for this Swansea side, who are looking like they're going to be struggling again this season. They've lost the manager. They're losing key players, and Yates is a decent player at championship level, but is he going to get you 20 plus goals? He'd have to have a very good season, I feel, for him to get there. He did decent numbers for Blackpool, but nowhere near those types of numbers. They were kind of just in drips and drabs, weren't it?
Yep, we'll see if he delivers the goods. Watford, of course, Valérien Ismaël coming in here now doing as the governor. Only 22,000 for Vicarage Road. That's surprising. Tom Ince coming in. Jake Livermore, two kind of veterans. You would see Reece Healy, a player we were linked with as well for a while now. And again, a lot of deadwood going. A big loss in Joe Pedro. That was announced before the end of the season. In a whole other bunch of players, but some are longer. Bakuna, a lot of outs, couple of ins. So what are we making about Watford's chances?
Yeah, I mean, losing Pedro is the big one. I believe Sarr's gone as well. I'm not sure if you have that on there. I think
he went to Marseille. That's right. No, I haven't got on there.
Yeah, so that is another big one as well from that really deadly front three they had when they come down from the Prem. So, I mean, obviously, and as well, Sombalonga, Bakuna, Cathcart, Mario Gaspar, Tom Cleverley, all five of them players are decent players at this level. And when the best you're bringing in is Jake Livermore from West Brom, who's, really getting on at this point, and Tom Ince, who's not really done it since he was at Blackpool for me, to be honest, what was over a decade ago now. It's really uninspiring, to be honest. I mean, I rate Ismaël as a manager, but I'm very surprised they haven't really seemed to have backed in this season, the owners. And that is a lot of outs and two really big quality misses there with Pedro and Sarr that it definitely doesn't replace. So I think you would think as a Watford fan they're going to be bringing some better players in quality wise towards the end of the window. You would feel losing those two big names in particular.
Yep, well, the countdown is on for Watford. Countdown is on for a lot of clubs to get busy, including these guys, Carlos Cohan and West Brom. I think they have been the quietest. That's also a bit of a false thing there. They did bring in some guy, Sedimiento, I think, from Brighton on loan. So I've been looking into this team a lot because we're playing them this week, and they got we've got a bit of stuff going on, drama behind scenes right now, I guess. West Brom have also got a lot of turmoil right now with some financial shenanigans, hence why there's no ins and releasing a lot of players that would have been on a hefty fee. So a good time to play these guys, I'm thinking, but I still fancy Carlos Cohan as a good coach, and I think he can get something out of this team. When you look at the team, it's still loaded with decent players if they're up for it. Still there a lot of people will have question marks about West Brom. As Jacob one of
them? I think the coach is definitely their biggest asset. I think when he came in last season, he did a really good job for him, managed to get him into that playoff, to the final day, into that playoff conversation, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And considering the start they had, where they were way down there, couldn't score for toffee, I think he's a very good coach at this level. Looking at the outs, I think, obviously Carlin Grant's, he's not had the best time at West Brom, but he's a decent Championship player. O'Shea is probably the big one, really, going to Burnley. I think they rate him quite highly. And then obviously Livermore as well. I have to see how the Brighton boy does. I don't know much about him, but seems to be a big-ish signing, I suppose. I think just simply because of the Cobra, and I think they could be there or thereabouts come the end of the season.
Well, let's have a look then, shall we? Of course, here we go with your list and my list and where we think they'll end up this season. Now, spoiler, mine's already out there in public domain. It's out there on a video already, but we'll go through it together. We're going to start from alphabetically, which, of course, will be Birmingham, working our way down through West Brom. We'll go pretty quick fire here. So, Birmingham, where do you have Birmingham on your hit list, Jacob, if you can remember?
I couldn't tell you the exact position, but I believe I've got them somewhere in the mid-table, as I always seem to think mid-table with Birmingham. I think a lot of guys kind of tipping for a bit of a dark horse, but I just never see it with Birmingham. They've got their own turmoil off the pitch with their owner and whatnot. So, yeah.
Well, I think they recently had a new owner come in quite in the course of last season. And, of course, their signings do look quite exciting. But if you look at it on the screen right here, right now, we both have them around about the same. You actually have them better than I do in 16th. I have them in 18th. But we'll see. Next up, we have the mighty Rovers, and you have 10th. Now, I think, again, I have them in 6th, which is, I made that bold prediction a while back. And now I fear that it's not going to be the case. I think 10th is also, I definitely, I have 6. I'm going to stand by it because I made a prediction a while ago. And you never know. We might get lucky. We might figure something out. But I just need some clarity on the manager. I need some clarity on some signings if we're going to be able to afford something. And if we don't get any of that, then I think 10th we will be very lucky with.
I think for me, I think we're a striker away from the playoffs. As long as we keep John Dahl, I think we're a 15, 20 goal man away from the playoffs. I think every single position, we've got quality, we've got depth, we've got the X factor with Smodix, Adam Wharton, Arne Sigurdsson if he comes good. I think we're just missing a striker. Gallagher isn't the man. I think that's been clear to see for a few years now. And when Coventry and Stoke apparently were sniffing around him, it was rumoured for 3 million. I would have drove him to Coventry or Stoke myself for 3 million and just took a loss on him, just be done with him. He works his bollocks off, but he's never even brought double figures for us in the 4 years we've had him, and he has been the main man up from each and every season we've had him, and it's just bewildering to me.
Would you go without him or with him? Like sell him, don't bring anybody in, or keep him and he'll have to do?
Oh no, I'd keep him if we're not going to bring anyone in, because at the end of the day, he'll get us 9 goals, and he'll work his arse off. But I don't think Ennis is the man to come in and really get us to 15, 20. I don't think anyone's expecting that. I think we need to spend a bit of money, but I think we're waiting on a Raya transfer to Bayern or an Ashley Phillips transfer to Spurs, just to free up some funds, hopefully, and at least spend 3-4 million or something, just getting a semi-decent guy in from a foreign league who can come in and have a great season like sometimes these foreign players do, and I think that will be the difference. I think without those goals, I think it's just going to be the same problems as last season, really. Not enough goals, and unfortunately, that's why we missed out on the playoffs due to our terrible goal difference.
Yep. Meanwhile, Bristol City coming at you next. Do you remember where you've got those guys on the table?
I think I've got upper mid-table, I think, with the Alex Scott effect and the guy they got from Derby. Yeah.
Yeah, ninth. I have them eighth. So, yeah, we're close on that one. We'll see who's smiling at the end of it. Then, of course, we have one of the Welsh boys, Tidy. Where's Cardiff?
Down there.
15th. That's not too bad. I have them much worse. I have them 13th. I can't remember. So, yeah, I guess I don't know about this coach. I think the coach is going to probably be one of the first to go. If we're gonna have a hot potato sack race, I think he is the more likely to get sacked first. Of course, Valérien Ismaël will be up there because he's just at Watford. You just don't know with Watford. But yeah, if I had to pick somebody who would get the sack first, and then somebody will come in. I don't know who's out there. A Potter maybe. That's a bit ambitious, but maybe what's that guy? The Luton one that we all hate.
Oh, Nathan
Jones. Yeah, he'll come in and he'll drag him up to 13th or something like that. So
I could see that. I'm not sure if Aaron Ramsey would be too happy with that, but I could see
that. Next up, we have Coventry. When do you have Coventry?
Mid-table-ish, I think.
Mid-table-ish. You have them in 17th. Woo! That's a big one. I have them as 11th. I think they will take a few steps backwards. And then I think this season will be the defining season if Ellis Sims and Coventry are going somewhere. If it is an 11th, take a step back and then maybe next season after a couple steps forward again. But if it gets completely wrong, like a Barnsley, then who knows? What's next? We have Huddersfield. Warnock, where is he going? Survival?
Around the Cov position.
Down there, 20th.
Yeah.
I think I have these guys going. I think they just survive in my eyes. 21st, that's right. Mm-hmm. Hanging on, skin of the teeth. You can't change your mind, but would you?
No. I think looking at the business in particular, I think, like I said before, just a hell of a lot of outs and ins, but it's just the Warnock effect. He knows this league. He'll get them playing a certain way. And when we went to Huddersfield, they had 30% possession or something daft at half time, so ridiculous. They'd only play like 12 passes or something like that. He'll scrap and claw in for points, and he thought he at the end of the game were gutted that they only got a point from that game, even though the 12 passes and whatnot. That's just Warnock in it, so he will keep them just up, I think.
Does he survive the whole season?
I would think so. I think they'd be foolish to sack someone like Warnock. I think they were lucky to get him out of retirement, and I think it'd be a disservice, especially when they were looking down the barrel last season, really, weren't they? I mean, they were down there for so long, and I think it'd be a real disservice to sack him when he's done them such a massive favour last season. You never know. I mean, it could just be one of those really weird seasons, and Huddersfield just come out of nowhere under Warnock and could be absolutely mental, and they get sick. They don't have any decent players, but that just is Warnock. That's the kind of effect he can have. I can't see it but stranger things have happened. Indeed.
Hull City, where have you got those guys?
Mid-table-ish. That's just Hull for me. And yeah.
I'm down at 18th.
Yeah.
I have him as 14th. Hopefully we got these the right way around. I think, yeah, I am. I have them 6th, so Rovers 6th. So yeah, 14th for me. You have Hull. 18th. We got Leeds United. No, Ipswich Town. Ed Sheeran's boys. Where are they at?
Yeah, upper mid-table. Like I said before, I don't see the hype personally, but I think they'll have a decent enough season for a first season back in the Championship.
You have 11th. I have 12th. Leeds United, Farker. Are they getting automatics or something off?
Top 6 for me.
Top 6.
Yeah.
You go put them highest. Yeah, third. I've got them down in 7th. I
Oh, well.
don't think he survives the season either. I think he will be gone. I like him as a coach. I don't think that's a good fit. Leeds. I don't know. I think there's too many good players there. I think he seems to, I don't know, get the best out of a bunch of bodies instead of
A bunch of Norwich lads.
yeah. So yeah, I think they get 7th again. Someone else might come in to steady the ship. We got Leicester. I think you and I might be in agreement with this in some capacity. Where are they?
Yeah, I think this is the one everyone is saying and kind of seems the obvious choice, but I do think they'll finish first this season.
I do have them in 2nd, but automatics. I think the quality is there. Coach is a question mark, but we'll see. And again, agreement with this next one, Middlesbrough.
Yeah, 2nd for me. I think,
Yeah,
as I've mentioned, Michael Carrick there the entire season, and they did fall off a bit towards the end of last season at the wrong time. Obviously, going into the playoffs, which probably cost them. But I think they should have a really good season this year.
I go one better. I go them as champions this time around. I think they'll learn from their mistakes last time, and will be better prepared moving forward. Then we have Millwall. I think, of course, bridesmaid. One of the bridesmaids like us last season. Where are they this season?
12th or something like that, I think.
I think you do have them up there. Yeah, 12th. I have them having a shocker. I have them down there in 19th.
Oh, wow.
I think they'll lose Fleming. I think they'll lose him late, and I think they won't have a replacement. They'll have all that cash, a bit of cash, and they'll spend it maybe in January a little bit. But I think the damage will be done, and they'll have a nightmare. Norwich, Wagner's troops.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I put them in playoffs or just to miss out. I think I may have put them in playoffs.
You have them in 4th. I have them in 10th. I also have them have a bit of a woeful season again. Don't think he sticks around. I think they'll get rid of him because he's had a bit part of like a third of a season last season. I don't think he'll get to January. I think he'll be gone by then. They will have aspirations to get playoffs this season. Plymouth, Argyle, and Schumacher.
Yeah, unfortunately, I think, as I said before, I think you look at the teams in this league, and I think 2 in particular just stand out to me as teams that are going down, and Plymouth is one of them.
Plymouth is one of them. I'm also in agreement. I give them a bit of hope though. 22nd, they might hang on, but it will be that Wickham sort of thing. You never know. Yeah. Maybe some sort of points deduction might suck the likes of Birmingham down there, or something like that. You never know. Who else is having West Brom? West Brom might have.
It's been more and more common now, those point deductions, hasn't it? I mean, Reading, Wigan in years not quite recent. So yeah.
I think we're going to start in League One with an 8-point deduction already. So not good. Yeah, I have them 22nd, maybe with a bit of hope. Then the Nobbers, where are they going to finish?
Lower mid-table for me.
So as low as 19th, do you think? Do you think you put them there?
I think that's where I put them. I'm going to say.
I think you might have. Oh, you did. Whoa.
Yeah.
Spicy.
I think, like I said, I think the fans have started to get on the manager's back towards the end of last season. Some of the comments really downplaying his Preston side. I mean, obviously, they don't have the biggest of budgets, but I think the Preston fans think they can always have a go at pushing for the playoffs at the very least. And it was almost like the manager was saying they were lucky to be there, really. He's had enough time there, and it's just not really clicking. And yeah, no real signings that get me excited about Preston this year, to be honest. So yeah, I think be a bit of maybe the manager leaves and just be a bit of a stagnant season for Preston.
Yeah, I have them doing a little bit better in 15th, but yeah, not the greatest season. Then we have QPR.
I think I've got them 21st, just scraping it.
You are right. I, on the other hand, have them going down. Rock bottom.
Oh, rock bottom. Wow.
Rock bottom. Stinger right there where it hurts. I did see links with Leicester and Ilias Chair. I think they could still lose him.
Willock as well.
I
Won't
don't
be
know.
keeping.
I think they'll lose at least one of them.
Yeah.
And right now it's not being an attractive. It doesn't look an attractive place to go. QPR at the moment. So
It doesn't, no. I think the manager's become a bit of a joke, really. Unfortunately, like I mentioned before, the whole Packer thing and all that, I think he has become a bit of a meme. So I don't know. I don't know. He's got that unfashionable brand of football though, what nearly saw Wickham stay up, and QPR do have more quality for sure than that Wickham side, and I question whether he'll remain the whole season. I really do, because I don't think QPR fans will obviously really want to. I mean, I don't think QPR fans will think they should be down there, but I think a lot of people will be predicting him to be down there. But I think if he does stay the whole season, which is only what we can go off right now, I do think he would just keep them up with his unfashionable brand of football.
Again, it's football's fast. A season ago, Michael Beale coming in, they were table toppers for a big part of that early doors. Losing him, they brought in. Who did they bring in? They did bring in Gareth Ainsworth. It was somebody else first. It was Critchley. I think they brought in Critchley for a little bit.
Oh yeah, of course, from Villa. Yeah,
that didn't work out, and he's he could have got the sack already because it didn't improve last season. So he's on borrowed time. So yeah, he will struggle, I believe. Rotherham United.
Yeah, Rotherham is the other team that I was referring to when I said you look at this league and the strength, and that is the other team that I just think will be down there. The only reason I put them above Argyle is probably, I don't know, probably better players potentially on paper. Obviously, they've had that extra season in the Championship, but Rotherham are your club. I think you know they've they've booked the trend last season, and I do think they'll be back down to League One, and we'll probably see him again the year after.
I concur. That's completed my drop zone 3 there. Rotherham going down with them. Sheffield Wednesday. Where have you got the Owls?
I believe I'm going to say like 13th for Sheffield Wednesday.
Correct. I have them 20th. I think they will struggle a little bit. I think the signing is a bit underwhelming. Coach could be a surprise, like you said, but yeah, I don't know. It's not exciting right now.
It's just a gut feeling with me. I think just because they're a big club, they haven't been here for a while. I felt the same way about Sunderland last season, really. I never thought Sunderland would have made playoffs, but you just kind of had that feeling when they come up. You thought they've been a sleeping giant for so long in League One, as Sheffield Wednesday have. They've been down there far too long, and they're finally back up. Are they going to seize their opportunity and really solidify themselves as a championship club? And you just kind of, I just had that feeling about Sunderland. I have the similar feeling about Sheffield Wednesday. And for some reason, like I said, everything's telling me they shouldn't, but I do think they'll have a decent season.
What about Southampton and Russell Martin? Where are they ending up?
They are ending up
fifth in the table, sixth even. I concur. I think they're up to, fourth up there. Armstrong goals, a lot of creativity, like you said, in that team. Martin's style of play. They could wow some team. They could really wow the league here and get the plaudits where he deserves at once. Martin, a bit of a laughing stock, like you said, from with Swansea. Who was he before? He was MK Dons before that. Yeah, MK Dons and Swansea. So this could be it. Could be his magical moment where he'll get them maybe to the Premier League, or we'll see. Let's kick on.
I think he could blow some teams out of the water, just like Burnley did last season. But I think there will be those games where you're coming up against a Warnock at Huddersfield and just sit in, make it really, really hard to play against. I don't think as an opposition fan going up against Southampton, it'll be an enjoyable game. We won't be getting the ball when you're coming up against them, but yeah, we'll have to see whether it clicks for him with some better players at Southampton.
What about Stoke and Alex Neil?
I'm going to say that's my 14th spot.
14th spot. Yeah, I'm probably down there as well. 16th spot. Yeah. Flat to deceive again. They'll have some moments. They'll cause some surprises, but I think that middle of the pack there will be quite tight. The 10th to like 18th will be 4 or 5 points at the end of the season, maybe 6 or 7 points, whatever. It'll be quite tight.
It always seems to be, doesn't it?
Yeah. Let's kick on though. Let's kick on with Sunderland. Where are they going to be?
I think I'd have them just missing out on the playoffs.
You sure? You have that? You do. You have them in 7th. I have them squeaking in there this time, 5th spot. Maybe Dak just got them in there. Just leapfrogged over us. No, we're in there. Oh my God, to me. Again, I think the difference between a Sunderland and a Rovers is their owner is young. He wants to spend. He's not like overly spend, but this project of his Sunderland is his main deal. Whereas Venky's Blackburn is just like a side gig or a toy that they play every once in the blue moon. So
I think we're more of a burden for the point, aren't we? To be honest.
Yeah. So so they're keen to invest, taking a punt on Bellingham and stuff like that. So whereas we're lucky to rub 2 pennies together at the minute. So what about Swansea? And Michael Duff, or whatever his name is. Where's he ending up?
Yeah, this may turn a few heads, but that is my 22nd spot.
Woo! That's a big call.
Losing the manager is a big one, I think. And they've really built that playing base and whatnot around that style of play, and it's not really worked at Swansea. They towards the end of not last season, the season before, they had that really good run at the end, and everyone were saying, "Oh, they'll make the playoffs next season," and obviously they were nowhere near it. I think, a big boy kind of has to go down. Like I've said, you look at the table. I think there's 2 obvious ones for me. But then the rest of them, it's a toss-up really. And I just think with everything that's going on at Swansea, the transfer business is uninspiring. I think it could be their year, and I couldn't tell you the last time they were in League One, but it's been a while.
Yeah, that's a bold claim. I've got them not doing great though, 17th spot, and then it's the battle of the W's. Watford and West Brom left. Do you have Watford in 5th, or do you have them in 8th?
Have them in 5th.
You have them in 8th.
No, I don't. Thought I did. No, I've got them in 8th. I suppose it's just Ishmael at Watford. Is it going to work and whatnot? Obviously, they hire coaches like they're going out of fashion, I suppose. Obviously saw João Pedro, big losses, but you would think they're probably going to be in and around there just because it's Watford, I suppose. That's probably the only reason why I've really got them there, I suppose.
I have them 3rd. I'm a big Ishmael fan. I've always wanted him as Rovers as coach. I think he would have done well. The many times I've coveted him as coach. Again, you're right. The big players are gone, but maybe this is going to be more of a team effort this time around. And if they can get it's a big if. If they don't, then yes, he'll be fired and he'll be out the door before Christmas. But if he gets it right, then they could be not only a Barnsley repeat, but better than Barnsley because they still have a lot of quality in there. They do have money in there if they want to get some players. So I'm going 3rd, going bold for Watford, which only leaves West Brom. You have them 5th, I have them 9th, and we're up against them on Saturday.
Yeah, I think just going off pedigree, really. Look at those teams that I've put in the top 6. I think a lot of them I have just kind of gone off pedigree. You don't really know till a ball has been kicked. But I think West Brom, obviously, the manager I think is a good one. Just missed out last season, despite having a torrid start where as I mentioned before, they just couldn't score any goals. If they can start finding the back of the net, there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't be able to make top 6 this season.
Yeah, Daryl DK, get him goal scoring, and he will be a menace, definitely a menace. But he's been a bit of a sick note of late, so they might have bought a dud on that one. Anyway, that's that. We'll come back to that maybe December, see where we are, and of course in May. Now let's plow on and get this sucker done here. This is the weekend's action. Let's plow through our picks. I've gone a step beyond here and put your predictions in our super. I created a private super brew to see who is actually getting the top of the table between you and I. So a little bit of competitive edge here. So I've got that going on. So Sheffield Wednesday, Southampton, kick us off this weekend. What scoreline have you gone for, if you can remember?
I think I've gone for a Southampton win.
Southampton win. I've gone with, you've gone with a draw. I've gone with a cheeky Wednesday win. There's always some surprises on opening day. And I think that a lot of eyes will be on this game because it's the first game back. Sheffield Wednesday, Hillsborough can be intimidating. Southampton, under a new coach, might get off to a bit of a soggy start. So I got 1-0.
Yeah, I mean, Sheffield Wednesday will be well up for it, obviously. First game back in the Championship for quite a few years. So, and obviously they're at home, which will give them an edge. So I think they should give Southampton a good run for their money.
Okay, big one. You're going here, Ewood, on Saturday against West Brom. What's your scoreline?
Yeah, I can remember this one. It's a 2-1 Rovers win.
2-1 Rovers win. I've gone with a 1-0 win.
I'm having a bear here, aren't I?
It's late in the day. I've gone with a 0-0. So I've gone with a clean sheet, both sides. I just think Rovers will play it safe. Not, we're not going to get that number 9 in now. And of course, we're a little bit threadbare up top. So scoring goals will be a problem. Defensively, I think we're okay. West Brom, I don't think DK's a fit for this one. And I just think our defense will hold out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think it's going to be more till like the end of the season, really. Other than the Millwall game where Diaz decided to wake up on his Bon Voyage game, but before that, struggling for goals. I mean, ridiculous. Really, the numbers we were putting up, but I'm hoping maybe Smodics can just squeeze one in. If he can pick his form up, he's going to have to really carry us until we get someone in, if we get someone in up front.
Yeah. Bristol City, Preston North End. Can you remember?
No.
No, I'll remind you. You went with a draw. We went with a 2-0 win for the home side. Nobbers starting off with an away day defeat.
I'd be tempted to give Bristol the win now, but I mean, Preston won't be a pushover, but away from home, they probably will end up losing that one, I reckon. But I'll stick with a 1-1 draw, I suppose.
What about the Battle of the M's? Middlesbrough against Millwall. Can you recall what you went there? No. I'll just remind you. You went with a 3-1 win, big win. I went with a 2-1 win. So we both sided for the same one on this one. You expect a lot of goals coming out of this Middlesbrough side?
Yeah, I do. I think at home in particular, and Millwall being away in particular. If it was at the Den, I'd probably go with a draw to Millwall, I reckon. But, I think Borough should do a good job at the Riverside. They'll be well up for it, you would think, after how last season ended in the playoffs and really start to kick on, you would think.
For the next one, Norwich gets Hull City. You went with a 2-0 for Norwich. I went with a 1-0. No takey backsies on that one. You're going to stand your guard with the Canaries' big win, 2-0 win?
Yeah, I think at home, I think Hull's a nice and easy first game, I would say anyway. Like I said before, a lot of people are tipping Hull for doing something, but I just don't see it. And I think it should be a pretty routine win for Norwich.
Yeah, I've got a 1-0 win. I think they'll win, but I don't think I won't think it'll be a showcase showdown. I think they'll do just enough. Maybe a Duffy header or Barnes scrappy do goal. I need to seed a bit of Norwich to see if they're the real deal. Plymouth Argyle, Huddersfield Town. Long trip for Huddersfield to the southwest.
Yeah.
Oh, you went with a 1-1. I went with a 2-1. Yeah, opening day win for the Green Army, I think.
Yeah, I think it should be a good contest. Warnock's going to, well, Warnock will set him up, as he probably will in every single away game, I would have thought. But it should be interesting to see what Plymouth have. I think if Plymouth were to beat Huddersfield, it's not exactly a statement, really. I think Huddersfield are going to be down there, but it's one of the games where Plymouth have to look at, and if they do want to stay up this season, you've got to be taking 3 points against Huddersfield. But I just think Warnock's going to set them up in a fashion not to lose, essentially.
So this one, I don't know if it's at Watford at QPR. I've seen mixed places, so I'm not 100%, but I think it might be at Watford. You have a 2-1 win anyway for Watford. I have a 1-0 win, and I would hold that as my prediction, regardless of the venue. Do you see any doubt in that scoreline?
No, I don't. I think, as we've mentioned, I don't think it's going to be a great season for QPR, and I have tipped Watford to do decent this season. It could be interesting, though. Obviously, as we've mentioned, big losses up front. So, how do they adapt with Ishmael as well? Is he going to be able to start cooking I suppose, like he was at Barnsley, or has he kind of just rode off those coattails of that really good season? I guess we'll see. There's quite a few managers like that, with your Wagners, your Farkers. Can they replicate the success they've had at this level, or are they just riding off previous success at this point?
Stoke City, Rotherham United. You have a 2-0 win Stoke. So do I. I think, Rotherham at home is going to be where they make or break their season. Away is going to be a lot of difficult nights. And I think Stoke have this one down to a T.
Yeah, it should be a pretty routine win and probably get Stoke fans giddy as they usually get. But I suppose we'll have to see how they get on this season, won't we?
Yep, Birmingham make the trip to to Swansea out in Wales. 2-1 win you've got for Swansea. I've gone with a draw. Why you think there's just guaranteed a win for the Welsh?
Yeah, I just at home. I think it's probably one of those games they could pick points up. Birmingham, I don't rate too highly as a side personally, so probably is one of those games where they will pick up points. But as I've obviously predicted, I do think they'll be down there. But obviously, they will win some games during the season.
Leicester Coventry, you went with a 3-0 Leicester. I went 3-1. Maybe some scores, I don't know. But a great start in both our eyes for former Premier League winners Leicester.
Yeah, it'd be a tasty game. This obviously there's a bit of rivalry there. Well, I say a bit, quite a lot of rivalry there. Obviously, Leicester coming down, first game at home, should be a good feeling about the place. Obviously, with them being a lot of people's favourites to win the league this season, and a real statement. And I just think, personally, I think Coventry are going to be hungover from that playoff final defeat. I think he's a really good manager they've got there, but I just think there's going to be a bit of a hangover. Not a hangover like there was at Barnsley, but a big enough hangover to see themselves out of the playoff picture this season.
And Leeds host Cardiff City. You've gone big on this. 4-1 win for Leeds. I've gone with a comfortable 2-0 win. They're good. Farker will do all right initially anyway. And like you said, there's goals here. A lot of quality players. Should be too strong for Cardiff. And then I think we might even get an insight into that new coach at Cardiff, who is probably the biggest question mark over his head than anyone in the division right now.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be one big result, you would think, this weekend. And I just think with the quality Leeds have, as we mentioned earlier, your Bamfords, your Sinisteras, your Nontos, whether those two wide men will be there come the end of the summer transfer window will remain to be seen. But like I said, there's quite a good chance if they start banging them in these first couple of games, they could get picked up, put themselves in the shop window. And at this level, you think, at home to Cardiff, they should really put on a display, Leeds.
Yeah, and then the final game, tasty one, the Tony Mowbray derby, I'm calling it. Of course, Sunderland against Ipswich. Of course, he's lauded over in Ipswich. They still love him over there for his playing days. You've gone with 2-1 win for the Mackhams. I've gone with a draw. Yeah, just a staggered start for Mowbray's boys. But, I think Ipswich will be just happy to get their first point on the board, on the road as well. So I think, it's a kind of feeling yourselves out match in my eyes. But you've gone with a big home win.
Yeah, it's a hell of a long way for Ipswich to travel. And, I think that probably is the only reason why I've just tipped Sunderland there. Obviously, the stadium alight will be well up for it with the success of making the playoffs last season. Obviously, we'll have to see what the situation is with the Diallo effect with him leaving, but I do think Sunderland should be feeling themselves and they should be up for this game. And as I've said, I think Ipswich will have a decent season, but I don't see what some people think with the dark horses playoff push.
Yeah, and if you or I are right, this is what the tables will look like. Look at that. You have Leeds top of the table after day one, match one. Leicester in second spot. I also have them up there as well with the goal difference. Stoke for me in third. You have Borough, Norwich, Stoke, Watford. I have Stoke, Bristol City, Middlesbrough, Plymouth up there in sixth. They'll want to stop the season there. And you've got Rotherham, Cardiff, Coventry going down. I have Cardiff, Rotherham, and North End going down. We'll take it. See you later, Nobbers. So that's it. Match day number 1 has come to a close. Jacob, you've been fantastic. This is, of course, the start of a long-lasting podcast. We're going to be here each match day. Looking forward to each and every one of them, the matches. Of course, we'll come back with our thoughts and opinions about the results as well. Closing comments from you?
Yeah, just watch this space, I suppose. It's been a nice introduction into the podcast, and hopefully, as we've mentioned, we'll be able to start getting some other faces on here, open the conversation up, and have some more debates and things like that. But should be a great season, really competitive league this year, and as I said, watch this space.
Watch this space indeed. So until then, guys, make sure you bang the subscribe, bang the thumbs up, bang the little bell. Of course, we'll be back to talk about this past week's games, and of course, building up for match number 2. That's all here. And of course, get your comments down below. Who's got the predictions right, me or Jacob? And we'll see that next week as well with an update on the Super Brew. But until then, we're out of here.